What's good, good people? This is your boy, Mr. Timothy D. Hall, and I'm coming back to you live with a little bit of words of wisdom. So today, what I want to talk about with these words of wisdom is, as crazy as it sounds, as unpopular, as contradictory as it sounds, sometimes when you screw people over, sometimes you need to go back. After asking for forgiveness, sometimes you need to go back, and whatever that person's got to say, you should sit there and take it. Crazy notion, right? Why am I saying all that? A lot of people out here, we hurt, man. We hurt bad, and a lot of people we scared. Everybody's scared to admit that vulnerability inside. A lot of people got a lot of hurt inside of them, and when they go out, and they notice when they go out in the world and stuff like that, nobody's out there trying to help them. Everybody's trying to get over on them. Everybody. And so there's no place where people can actually get, go through and really like examine themselves for who they are and all the actions that they've taken and everything like that. And so because of that reason, and also at the same time, we live in the world where ego is and pride is always at the top. People rather save face and show a certain type of image to everybody in comparison to like healing a soul. Because a lot of times people don't even understand. You might have been hurt in the past by somebody and stuff like that. But you got to understand how you then turned around and you went and you hurt somebody else. And you did it 20 times worse. And everybody goes through this. I went through this, man. I was in a period at one point in my life where somebody did me so dirty. It's like, dude, I'm about to do everybody else dirty. It's like, I don't care. I'm about to do everybody else dirty. Oh, this girl, she did this to me. Okay, I'm going to go do this with every other free man. Watch what I'm about to do. And when I did, you do stuff like that. A lot of times, the only person that you hurting is yourself. And again, we don't know how to heal from that stuff because nobody's out here trying to help us heal. We don't know what to do and stuff like that. The only thing we can do is harbor what we have inside. And so we got to play and act like something else because of how we feel inside. You know what I mean? Like we can't be genuine with people outside because people will tell, whatever. Ain't no love out here. So that's why sometimes the best way to heal, you got to understand something. A lot of this healing is going to just be between you and God. Therapy can't do it. Is that a DD? I'm not saying you shouldn't go into therapy. A lot of times people are, again, this is another thing. People don't want to go into therapy. They think you crazy. But people, that's how this society has warped people's mind to believe that a therapist or a psychiatrist or whatever, that these people are there. And if you're in these places, you're crazy. You got to understand how the society is set up in such a way where it wants you to continually and perpetually keep you in that dark place that you're in. Because when you're in that dark place, you're defenseless against them. When you're broken or whatever, and you dealing with all this trauma, you don't know where to go with it. You don't realize that, this nation, this society, they like Mr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde. They're narcissistic, but they'll tell you one thing, but they do the complete opposite. And so they have demonized people going to therapy or whatever the case may be. And most people believe that if you go there, that means that there's something fundamentally wrong with you. And now you're in a space where you got a dilemma. You just went through some type of trauma, and it could have happened traumas a long time ago. And it's like you got to go one or two routes. Either A, you can go in the pride and the ego matter. And when you go into that pride and ego, all you're doing is burying it down. I.e., you're killing your soul, whether or not you know it. That's why you feel so negative, so low and stuff like that. Because now you got to, in order to run from what happened, you got to go on one or two of these spectrums, either your ego or your spirit. You got to help one. When you go to your ego, your flesh is going to feel good because you're like, oh yeah, I ain't doing da. But your soul will die at the same time. And then on the other side, you can feel your spirit, but your ego, your ego is going to be decimated because now people going to be thinking that you're weak. People going to think you this. And the thing is, be real with yourself. You are weak right now. It's not to say that's a negative thing. Again, it's not. The truth is not negative. It's just, you got to understand it is what it is. It doesn't mean that you're weak at this moment. Your spirit is weak at this moment. So your body is eventually you are weak at this moment, and it's not a bad thing. Imagine you got stabbed in the side. You got stabbed in the side of your whatever. And now, you bleeding out and stuff like that, and you woozy and you're weak right now. It's not saying that you're weak is a negative thing. It is what it is. When you were younger, little girls and boys, they're weak. They're weak. Weak does not mean negative. Weak just means the opposite of strength. It's weak. But that's not disrespectful. And you got to come to grasp with terms like that. You got to understand that, because a lot of times that's a triggering thing for me. Like with me, I have a problem because it's like, I try my best to go out here and do good by people, and people will try me every time. And it's like, at one point I didn't understand how to deal with people, because it's like, I understand if I go back and forth with people, I know I'm going to go right down to the level that they are. Because it's like, I can't, everybody know, man, it's like when you get to that threshold, you can't stop. Like, you tearing everything down. But then now you got to deal with the consequences of all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like so it's like, how can you go out here and show love? Because it's like, not even show love. It's just like, if you're not yourself, you're not going to feel free. That's why you feel bonded and trapped all the time, more than likely, because everybody's trying to be the same. And so when everybody's trying to be the same, you are inherently disrespecting your soul. You're inherently saying your soul is not important. And your soul is who you truly are. And so because you forsake your soul and you go for your ego, your soul is damaged, and you feel all this negativity. And so it's hard to see anybody else happy. And so what a lot of people would do is, because they got hurt in the past, and they're dealing with it and they're weak spiritually. Weakness is not a bad thing. It depends. Actually, let me say this. It depends. But weakness is just that. It's weak. It's direct communication. But again, they want you to think that you're somehow inherently flawed because you are weak at the moment. You're spiritually weak. And it's okay. It's definitely okay, because everybody goes through that. God puts you through that, and he gets you to that point. You got to go through that spiritual weakness, because that's when he's able to come in and really build you back up. But the very thing that we're afraid to face is the very thing that keeps us bonded. Because now we only operate we're trying to save our face. We're trying to save our face and make sure that everybody else don't think we got played. We're trying to make sure that we got the pride and like, oh yeah, that ain't bothering me. Oh yeah, I'm good. Knowing damn well you're never good. You know what that does. And so now you got to do other stuff to kind of like hide from that. You see any type of goodness. A lot of people, when they see any type of good in the world, they want to destroy it. They want to tear it to smithereens. They want to, because they don't want to see anything good, because they're not good inside their soul. It's the their soul has been, again, it's weakened. Again, imagine somebody stabs you. You're the biggest, toughest dude on the block. Get stabbed like 2 or 3 times. Now you're at this state where you're bleeding out, and you're weak because of that. Now, because you're bleeding out inside and everything like that, people on that same block that would never have tried you when you were in your strength, they trying you now because they know you're at your weak point right now. And again, understand that's not a negative thing. You are weak at that moment. You're not. It doesn't mean that you're truly weak. It means you're weak at that moment. It is what it is. You can't judge yourself for that. Yes, you are weak at this moment. Be real with yourself. Be real with yourself. Because when you're real with yourself, you're gonna hurt your ego. You're gonna hurt yourself, your flesh. Because your ego, it's just a blow to your ego. Like, oh man, maybe I'm not. But the thing is, when you take that blow, it's going to hurt. But now you're going to start rebuilding your soul. And that's truly what you need to get at, because that's where that healing comes from. It's not from the external world. If you keep on going outside and looking for it, you'll never find it, because this world is not, this is the devil's domain. There's no love here for most people. Most people, that's why a lot of times people operate in the way that they do, because they're like, okay, well, it's almost like you in the hood, or you like in a poverty area. So it's like, okay, well, if everybody around me doing this, I got to do the same thing in order for me to survive. Not knowing the same thing that mentality is keeping you in that place. It's keeping you in that hood. It's keeping you there. It's because of that mentality. But you understand that if you do the opposite, if you go off of your spiritual instead of your ego, what's going to happen is people going to try you. They're going to take your kindness for weakness. They're going to do this. And so you can't be yourself. Again, when you're not being yourself, the person that God put you on earth to be, your spirit is suffering. Your ego might feel good. Oh, yeah, I got all these people around me. Yeah, I'm doing this, and this. Oh, yeah, everybody perceives me as this, and this. But at the end of the day, when everybody's gone, how do you feel by yourself? That's real for people, and I don't want to hear that. But the thing is, when you accept real and you accept truth, you don't understand what that's going to do to your soul. You carrying burdens all around, all the burdens that you did dirty. Don't be real with yourself. Everybody does dirt. Everybody sinning and everything like that. Everybody do dirt. You sometimes did something real grimy and slimy to people. You know what I mean? You getting over it. And a lot of times, you was operating out of that hurt. Again, like I gave it the analogy, that you're the biggest, toughest dude on the block. You can think about that as your spirit. People won't try you. That's the demonic spirits around you. They can't try you a lot of times because you're strong right now. But somehow, some way, you got like somebody like maybe you made a friend. Let's just say this, you made a friend. You still the strongest one, but your right hand man is right up over here. You don't realize that your right hand man is a snake or this or this or this or whatever the case may be. The most dangerous person to the king is the person that's sitting right next to him. The most dangerous person to the king is the person who the king trusts the most, because the king will never see it coming. And so that's what happens in your life, where you trusted or whatever, you trusted the world, a person, this, and you trusted and you got stabbed in the back, bleeding out. Luckily you recovered, but it's like it puts you in this traumatic space, like, oh my God, like I just, like, dang, man, and you hurting. Man, again, you got stabbed. You bleed, you hurting like a mud. There was a deep wound, real deep, because again, the person was right behind. You didn't see it coming. And they know where to hit you. And so they thought it was gonna kill you. It didn't kill you, but you are severely injured. You know what I mean? And so it's gonna take your time. It's gonna take you time to heal. The thing is, if you don't acknowledge the wounds, if you don't acknowledge this, it's like a lot of people out here, because you were the biggest dude on the block, but now that you refuse to go get healed, let's just say, for example, that the wounds never heal. So they're bleeding out each and every day. Maybe they like got, maybe they don't, they heal in such a way, but it's still very uncomfortable. Imagine you got stabbed in the back, you can't lay down. It hurts to lay down. It hurts to, you know what I mean? It healed a little bit, with time, but in the same vein, it's still there. It's now, because you got stabbed in the side, something like that, and that pain, you never went to go address that pain. You carry it around with you everywhere. Now your life is altered because of the pain that you just experienced when somebody stabbed you in the back or somebody did this. And this is life. Life, it doesn't mean like it's not, maybe not necessarily a person, whatever, but it's like some way, shape, or form, your soul, your spirit was broken. It was broken. And a lot of times it more likely is from the hands of people. Maybe you had somebody die in your life, maybe whatever. Maybe you had lost a limb, or I don't know, any type of trial or tribulation that you have to go through. And so as a result, we now have to modify how we move in order to again, like if you're laying, you can't even lay on that bed now. You got to lay on the other side. You can only do, you know what I mean? Like your everything you do is impaired now. And now the same dudes that was on that block that couldn't try you when you was the strongest one, now they trying you all the time, and they coming at you heavy, because they know this is the time to attack. This is the time. If we allow this person to get back up, and this person is, do the this, we'll never be able to beat these people. This is how military tactics and stuff like that. This happens all over the world. This happens in finance, business too. Sometimes, even like, food chains, as crazy as it sounds, a lot of food chains, they have to like, they want to beat the competition. It's almost like they gotta do things in such a way where, they can succeed and whatever, like they'll do underhanded tactics and stuff like that as a way to, to beat the competitors or whatever the case. And so, some of the, not necessarily even underhanded, but, maybe they might, a company might lower their prices. The company might do a whole bunch of things, maybe pay their employees more money so that they'll come here. And essentially, at the end of the day, what the company is trying to do is to get more people to invest in their restaurant in comparison to the competition. And if the country is strong enough, it has enough, or the company is strong enough, and they have the finances and stuff like that. Sometimes a tactic that people can use, military, it's in anything, is using when you're trying to beat your competitor. Sometimes it's best to devalue at one point, to devalue your prices, this, and this. Your company can handle it because it was already financially secure or whatever the case. And as a result, because you can lower your prices low, now as a result, the customers that was going to your competitor can't do the same thing. And so it's almost like you're pricing them out in the opposite way, where you're making your prices and things, your products cheaper. And because they're cheaper, more people are going to flock to your company, thus disregarding your competition. And as a result, that competition will eventually be moved out the way. And so now, as a result, you now have the monopoly, so you can raise everything back up. This is what people will do. This is what companies. This is literally all over the world. So, with all that being said, these demons, these other things that you never had to deal with prior to you going through that traumatic experience, now they're riding your back. Now they're on you because they're trying to defeat you before you get strong again. And if we don't go and address that pain, that stab wound, that this to that, if we never go and get that healed, we will never be able to fully fight. The demons will be taken, because again, it's a whole bunch of demons on you. The jealousy, the envy, the hatred, you know what I mean? Like the lying, the backbite, the gossip. And I'm not trying to condemn people, but people don't want to hear this stuff because it feels like I'm not condemning you, but I'm just trying to let people know that's how you get back to that happiness. That's how you get your happiness. That's how you get your soul. You are not about to be happy out here. People, this world has lied to you. Oh, again, this world is the devil's domain. They have lied to you so much, and it's like people are so confused. They told you all your happiness is going to come when you get this job, when you get this family, when you get this, and this, and this. You get this trophy. And that's what people's mentality is. So I got to beat everybody else. And everybody realized at the end that the trophy was plastic the entire time, but we still got to put on and act like it, because it's like, and you fall even deeper into a depression, because it's like you did all that work and stuff like that. And you wounded and everything, and you got the trophy, and it was plastic the entire time. It's not even real. But it's like, now what do? I gotta just stay. I gotta make sure that this thing look real. It's not real, but it looks real. But that's how we, this is what this life is about. And so you got to understand, when you reject the world, you are ultimately like accepting God. God, and He's very, very real. I always say this, man. It's like I can't believe, because I didn't think God was real for a good portion of time. I knew there was something higher, but I was like, and I think maybe I always say it's more than likely maybe with the religious aspect of, but I always believed that there was a higher power and stuff like that. But I wasn't, whatever. But when you reject the world, you are inherently accepting God, because the devil runs this world. You are inherently accepting God. In the same vein, when you accept God, you are in the earth is going to inherently reject you. Now they're going to reject you. That's why if you on your way or whatever, you're trying to get closer spiritually or whatever, you're going to realize that people are still going to push. They're going to run away from you. They don't want to be around you. They're going to And again, it's the spirits inside this world. The world's going to reject you because your spirit is getting brighter and brighter, which is, i.e., is getting closer to God again. And so, again, what other people want to do, the demons are still, while you on this earth, the demons still going to come at you, and they're going to come at you heavy. But when you build your spiritual resolve, the same spirits, those same dudes that's on the block that came at you when you were weak, once you heal that leg, it's it's you get back on your throne, and it's no match. But the throne was set up by God. You're supposed to be a king, queen, or whatever on this earth. And I don't mean that in no pandering. I don't like when people be pandering. I'm dead. Like, I am in no way, shape, or form trying to pander to people and say, "Oh, you a queen, you a boss, you a this, you a thug, you the this, you that." That's not my intention at all. I'm saying that God told you was a king. I'm telling you, but you don't go around acting like you are better than other people. A king, you need to be a king in accordance to God's standards. You know what I mean? Like what He says as a king, not with the devil, because the devil will make you think that with you being a king or everybody else around you some peasants. Whereas on the other side, it's truly what it is God. God is, He tells you to be humble and a servant. It's counter, everything about God and the devil is counter. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like all the selfishness. There's selfishness versus selflessness. And don't get me wrong, while you're on this earth, you do need to take on some of these traits, but you need to understand the boundaries and how far to go. Because if you take on too many traits of this world, you're going to fall right back into that pit, and now your soul is destroyed. And again, everybody do dirt. I personally have done so much dirt in my life. Everybody has done dirt. Everybody, every single person. But you don't know what to do with that hurt. You probably was hurt at first, and you just don't understand it and stuff like that. So, as a result, you got to find other vices. You're on earth still, though. You're on earth. So it's like, and again, this world teaches you that God is not real, and religion is pushed in comparison to spirituality. That's why a lot of times you can't even go to the church and get healed, because they're practicing religion, not spirituality. Two completely different things. You know what I mean? And that's not all churches, of course, but like it's equivalent to idols. If you ever read the story with Moses, he was coming down from Mount Sinai. I think he had the 10 Commandments in his hand, and When he went up the hill, all the people at the bottom, they had, I forgot how long Moses was up there, but essentially Moses had brought the people to a certain place. They had already gone through the Red Sea and stuff like that. So they were at this place, and a lot of the people were growing weary, but Moses was that strong, like, leading thing. And so Moses went up and he was talking to God, and I forgot how long, but it was a long period of time. It was so long that the people at the base, even though God had delivered them, with Moses no longer there, what the people started to do is like, we need to worship somebody. We got to. And so what they did was they took all the gold, melted it down, and then made that golden calf. And they made that golden calf their God. It was an idol. You see, they didn't, like, since Moses had left and they no longer had that strong guidance, that light to God, they had to find something. And so they made a golden calf. And this is what this world does always consistently. This is why I get on. Why are they building statues of people and stuff like that? They make people idols. They make them gods. That's exactly what they do. They make them gods. And because now they make people gods, we don't realize it, but we're following these false gods. They're false. What do I mean when I'm saying you following these false gods, these idols? They want you to idol to praise idols, because in praising idols, it's rejecting God. This idol is now your God on earth. And if we're not careful, we don't realize that. People, I had this bit about, I always harp on Martin Luther King, because Martin Luther King is important in my book, is because the impact he has had on black people and white people, but primarily black people. And it's important because he's a base foundations for a lot of black people in America, at least, whether people know it or not. Is it all? Absolutely not. But it's like the reason why he's such an influence, it's not maybe not even necessarily what you learned about him in school, but because of the family, your generations and generations, and how they looked at Martin Luther King. They passed that on to you. The child's gonna come like their parents. The child's going to adapt to whatever environment. So if you grew up and your parents were worshiping idols and stuff like that, people, you're going to do the same thing. If people, it's not to be disrespectful or whatever, but like everybody ain't going to want to do that. If you want to grow spiritually and stuff like that, you got to understand that these people are making false idols. This is the celebrities. These are these people. They want you to worship man. They want you to. That's what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to make sure that you're worshiping men, and you don't realize it. In the same way, you look at the Bible, you look at God and stuff like that. God gives you words, scriptures. He tells you how to live. You pay tribute to him. You do songs and dances and stuff like that. You do all these different type of things. You listen to his word. You make sacrifices. You do a whole bunch of stuff for God. And whether or not we understand it, we do the exact same thing for people. This is why God is like gone. He's like gone. We don't realize that the devil is making us worship idols. Not making us. He's tricking us into worshiping idols, i.e. people that have no power whatsoever. But this is, again, how many people act and dress like, you got people in the industry like Lil Wayne. How many people do that? How many people act like Future? How many people act like these Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion? How many people act like that? Whether or not they know, you live by these people's words. You do the actions that they do, just like how you do with God. You pay tributes and things of that nature by concerts and stuff like that. You idolize and put up false idols and stuff like that, of pictures, posters, and all these other different type of things. You do all these things, and people might seem to say that is so far-fetched. It's not far-fetched whatsoever. Again, it's like you're worshiping in the same vein. When Moses came down with those 10 commandments, and there was a golden calf, and he threw what he did with the 10 commandments, he was upset and angry because he's like, dude, God brought y'all out of Egypt. What are y'all doing? Because they had forsaken God again, and they were like worshiping something different because Moses had left. They worshiped something that was on earth. They needed to give their worship to something. Do you understand? Like, spirituality is very real. You're going to give spirituality. You're going to do it whether or not you know it. You're doing spirituality each and every day, whether or not you know it. You could say, I ain't spiritual at all. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You just about don't know that you're spiritual. You either worship the earth, or you worship or you worship God or the devil. It's one of the two. But the devil, what he does is he disguises everything very well. He makes everything look very, very good. But at the end of the day, they're idols. He's making people, he's making people celebrities and stuff like that. And he's building up statues and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, that's harmless. No, it's not. Those are idols. There's false idols. We're following the principles. How often do we follow the advice of George Washington? I'm not saying that, let me bring this up. I'm not saying that you should just be out here in anarchy and stuff. But like even with George Washington, Just for argument's sake, the Constitution. We live by the words of the Constitution, don't we? We do the practices and things of that nature to the Constitution. We pay taxes because that's what the Constitution said. We do this, this, and this, and this. We worship whether or not we know it, even on the governmental level. We worshiping these people whether or not we know it. We're worshiping celebrities whether or not. That's why our ego. I mean, that's why we feel dead spiritually. Is because we don't realize that these people are the devil's out here pimping you. He pimping your pain. He pimping everything, and he makes it look real good, and you don't realize it. I always even say, like, you do dances and praise and worships to God. I always found it so doggone creepy. Like, don't get me wrong, I engaged in it, but you ever see these? I was watching that Beyonce Cut It Off, and everybody's doing the exact same thing. Everybody's like moving the same way. Everybody's doing this trend, and it's trendy. And people are like, no, you going to no. The devil, the broad road leads to damnation. Everybody's doing the same thing. The devil wants you to manipulate you. The devil wants to control you, whereas God won't give you free will. And again, it seems so harmless with this song, Cut It Off. And that one, Beyonce, I ain't gonna lie, Beyonce had a couple of things. I'm like, what was that? I'm a grown woman. I can do whatever I want. Look at that. Go look at that thing again. I'm a grown woman. I can do what I want. It's almost like the music video. I had never seen the music video. And you can just feel it in the song or something like that. It's like something. I think this is again, it's demonic in a lot of ways. And people are like, man, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. I'm telling you, whether or not you know it, you are practicing spirituality each and every day. The devil wants everybody to be the same. That's why I'm like, these trends and stuff like that. These trends with Beyonce and Cut It Off. And even in that music video, I'm a grown woman. Look at that video. Go really look back at that video. It's like they're entrancing people. It was almost like they were high or something like that. It's like they're hypnotizing you almost. Everybody's doing the same dance and da-da-da-da-dee. It looks cool. It looks real good, but we don't realize that this is different. It's like we're praising and worshiping Beyonce or whatever. And she's like bringing us through this portal. I'm telling you, that's like what it looks like with that thing. It's like that you're in a trance. If you know anything about what are those gods in Africa or just anywhere, or maybe in Native American, you usually see this where when they're going into this state and they're worshiping and stuff like that. They could be worshiping, I don't know, whatever they're worshiping, and they're doing these dances and stuff like that. So there's always like this mosaic of like moving colors and this almost like you high. And that's what I see in that doggone video. It's like these people are really, like, it's like they're hypnotizing you, really, truly hypnotizing you. But they're bringing it out and it looks cool. It looks like it's cool. It doesn't look like it's cool. It is cool. But we don't realize we're doing it like we're praising, worshiping the damn devil. Either we serve God or the devil. It's one of the two. It's just one of the two. You either serve God or the devil. And that's clear. But the thing is, the devil tricks you so doggone much that you never ever can see it. You'll never spot it out if you're not careful. You'll never be able. You're just like, oh yeah, it's just a dance. No, it's not. No, it is not. I guarantee you. Do this. Whenever you get some time, take the time to stop listening to half of this music. Stop listening to half of this music and then come back and see how your soul feels. I would challenge people, really go take some time out to test what I'm saying. People say, again, the devil wants you to think that somebody speaking like this, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. That doesn't exist. You're that d. It's just this. It's just that. No, it's not. No, it's not. Why do you feel that way all the time? Why do you feel this emptiness and things why is it that we pay so much attention to like Beyonce, or not Beyonce, but celebrities and things of that nature? Why? Why do we do all that stuff? Why do we do all that stuff? Why are we so entrenched? Why is there so many people out here hurting, but everybody look good and they doing the same things? Why is people out here hurting like a mud, but we put on our ego, we put on our mask and stuff like that? Why is that? Why is that? The reason why it is because whether or not we know it, we're worshiping the damn devil. Point blank, period. We are worshiping the devil. And the thing is, a lot of people like the devil. That's what I'm saying. Like, if this message don't resonate with you or whatever, yeah, like I would never ever say, like, I never ever try to tell people like yada da da. I'm just trying to tell people what I went through, what I see and what I observe. And I'm saying like where I got to, and I like, you know what I mean? But when you hop into that trendy where everybody else is, yeah, you're gonna be accepted by the world. You're going to be accepted by the world, but you're also rejecting God. You're rejecting. That's why you feel like emptiness inside. That's why you feel like a hollow shell. That's why you feel insecure. That's why, because now you feel like you got to do like everybody else. Now everybody's doing the same thing. It's manipulation. The broad road leads to damnation. And this is what these people are doing, but they're covering it up. They're making it look real cool. Real cool. And if you're not careful, you won't see it. It's very, very subtle. It's subtle, but that's what the devil does. The devil does not give you the brunt force of who he is. He doesn't manipulate in the way that where he just tells you flat out lies. I always say the devil does a purgatory truth, or the Kool-Aid rule of manipulation. The purgatory is this in between God, heaven and earth. I don't know if that really actually exists, but it's just an example of how you have this intermediate between the two extremes. You know what I mean? In the same vein, I call it the Kool-Aid. The devil uses the Kool-Aid method of manipulation, which is with Kool-Aid, you got to take the salt of the Kool-Aid and then the water of the Kool-Aid and pour them together. The salt is very, very concentrated. What I mean with concentrated is it's so strong that if you were to taste it directly, it's too much. And so as a result, you place it in water where it's more so diluted. You know what I mean? Like there's more space, so you're not drinking it all the concentrate. You're not eating all the concentrate in one sitting. It's like over a period of time where you can, you know what I mean? Like it's when you put the Kool-Aid inside the water, the amount you ate directly, you could have ate directly. It's still the same amount in the water. But the thing is, the one in the water is better because it's like it tastes. But this is what the devil does with the Kool-Aid method. He tells you a little bit of truth with a lot of bit of lies. And this is important. The Kool-Aid is equivalent to that little bit of truth. And then he coats it with the 99% lies, which is the water, the quart of water. And so what happens next is he serves that Kool-Aid up and give it to everybody. And everybody's palate, meaning the taste and stuff like that, it's on this thing again. It's this spectrum of good and bad, evil. Kool-Aid is on one side, the water is on one side. Some people, they like the Kool-Aid closer to the water, so it's very, very diluted or bland. I forgot what watery, I think is what other people says. And in the same vein, some people like the Kool-Aid closer to the concentrate of the Kool-Aid, which is very strong, tart, and stuff like that. And so the devil is very tricky. He knows exactly what to do. Again, he's a narcissist. He knows who you are through and through. He knows who you are because he created you, not created you, but he created the life that you live in, 60s, 70s, 80s. He created that a very long time ago, whether or not you know it. So he knows exactly who you are before you open up your mouth, because he created a lot of stuff that you go through in life. He created the chaos and stuff around you. He created and he hopped into people around you, attacking, da-da-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. It is very much spiritual, but people don't understand it. They don't get that. And the devil is literally all over here, and he's creating idols. And this is why these are idols. We care more so about what the celebrities say. We care more so. Another thing is, you also see this happen very often. Again, even people that God sends on this earth, the devil takes it and he flips it and he makes it in the way that he wants. Again, he has to make the Kool-Aid palatable, determined to the people. So like with black people, this is always why I harp on it. That Kool-Aid, he gets the Kool-Aid just right and he serves it up to black people because he gives you a little bit of truth and a lot of bit of lies. And so as a result, because we can see, he'll often give you the truth that you can see. If a person is trying to, you go through these narcissistic systems, a person is being isolated. What the manipulative people will do around them is typically, in order to isolate someone from a group or whatever, what they will have to do is they go around and they lie and they do all this backbiting. They're very two-faced. You know what I mean? They're two-faced. They one way in your face, and then behind your back there's something completely different. Behind your back, they are over time destroying your reputation and stuff like that. They're doing all this different type of stuff, and they're saying all these negative things. They're lying. They're defaming your character and stuff like that, and they're telling it to people because they want people not to mess with you. That's what their overall goal is, because when you're isolated, that's where they feel like they got you the most, and like, oh, da da da. You know what I mean? Most people, their isolation is not good. It's not good at all. So that's why a lot of people, we fall in line to what the world is saying, because we don't want to be isolated. We don't want to, but the devil understands that's the nature of a human. Humans are animals. We're animals. We are very free, just like animals. When objects comes at us or things comes at us that is too scary, we don't know what it is, we run away from it and we reject it. So a lot of times when people are talking like myself or something, you hear what I'm saying, and it's like it's scary because it brings things back to life. It brings the truth, and it's a conviction in your spirit. Like it's almost like your spirit is scared that somebody's saying this, that they're being exposed. It's scary, and so as a result, your mental brain is going to do some gymnastics and say, "No, this person is just crazy. That's not true. This person, that's that doggone demon in your head talking to you, scared as hell because somebody's speaking the truth." Somebody's telling you like the God honest truth of what's going on. And so, but they got to manipulate everybody else around them and get people to believe one thing so people won't mess with them. That's their overall goal, so they can destroy them. This is what very, very narcissistic people do, and this is what the devil does. But in the same vein, when they're telling all those lies, they tell people a little bit of truth, just a smidget of truth. Like, for example, like they will say it in a way where the people that they're trying to convince and trying to isolate you from, they're trying to get those people. So they will say things that are true that people can visibly see on you, or maybe it's even necessarily a flaw or whatever. But the way that they're saying that behind your back, it's like you're the devil yourself, of how nasty and stupid this that. It's like that. But these people are very lying. They're evil. These people just got the devil in them. It's like you just got to like pray for these people, like really, really to pray for them, because their overall objective is to destroy you. Their overall objective is so they give people a little bit of truth. They give them just like a little bit of truth, and when they gave that person that little bit of truth, people can look at it and they say, "Oh, this person's telling the truth." And again, they never show their hands. So they people around them think that this person is a very great person. They'll do anything in it. They'll put on a very, 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 very good mask, extremely good mask. But underneath this little child, it's a little, whatever. But they put on these are narcissistic individuals. They're very jealous, envious, hateful, and all these things. And it don't matter what their job title is. It don't matter how much money they make. It don't matter at all. People are very insecure. Extremely, you know why they're insecure? Because that ego. It's because of that doggone ego. The devil, I'm telling you, it's that ego. The devil, they've been living in that ego so long, they're miserable inside. And so what they have to do is they want to bring everybody down to their level. And they don't care. They get very, very nasty with it, grimy with it. And so they want to isolate you. They want to reject jobs, this, and this. They literally want you out on the streets, broke, homeless, and nasty. They want to destroy you, especially if you're doing something with God. I'm telling you, you better people operate out of ego and jealousy, out of hurt that they had to experience in a very long time ago. And so as a result, people will believe that and isolate, and they'll isolate you, where the narcissistic person, the devil, can just run havoc in your life. If you don't have God, if you don't have that spiritual, truly spiritual backing, narcissistic people, they are so confident. It's because these people have destroyed lives. The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. To kill, steal, and they will manipulate people to kill you. They will manipulate people to come, or not even necessarily them. They'll destroy your life. They want to destroy your life. They want to destroy your happiness. They want to do all these different type of things. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. They want to destroy everything about you because they don't like themselves. It's like they're trying to take on your personality of who you are, while simultaneously they're trying to tear you to smithereens and assume your identity. This is what the devil does. And for most people who are not spiritually connected, it's very effective. It's very, very effective. And again, this is why a lot of people out here, we have so much trauma. That's why. And so now we got to go back into this. But our soul is just dead inside. Our soul is dead. And so, to get all in that, again, these idols, these people that the devil is trying to convince us to worship idols. This is why, I always harp on Martin Luther King, because I'm not trying to come at him. You got to understand the difference, like where people are coming from. But again, this society wants you to feel very sensitive. They want you to think that any type of critique or anything like that is considered to be negative or bad, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this. They want to suffocate the truth because they don't care about people's emotions. Again, this is a tactic of the damn devil. They claim that they want your emotions and everything like that. That's their best interest. But these people are lying. That's why with a lot of these social movements, they're allowing it to happen on purpose, where people are they use injustice to give justice to a lot of times. So they say the minority groups or whatever. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have leg up, but they're in a way that society is kind of like flipping the script, and you really got to watch that because it's not sincere. And it's like, what are these people planning? Morality, these people are doing it for a moral place. You got to understand that just sounds like, and I'm a cuz right here, this sounds like pure and utter baby back bullshit. You really got to understand that like that. A person that's telling you some stuff like that, you should be able to see that line of thinking that, oh, it's just for moral reasoning. If they don't practice that in a lot of areas in their lives, understand they trying to pimp you. They trying to play you. They're trying to play you. You got to watch people's actions, not what they say. Why would this society all of a sudden out of nowhere start to care about the morality of these people when they never cared ever before? The reason being is because there's an agenda behind it the whole time, but they're disguising it as an angel of light. They're using the pain of people. Again, they're pimping your pain. That's what the devil does. They're using the pain that you've been through in your life to use it against you. Again, the devil already knows who you are. He knows who you are because he made you in the sense that he didn't make you physically. He made you in the sense that of what you are around, and we become what we are around. That's what I mean when I'm saying he made you. You know what I mean? But you made an image of God, but he wants you to think that your individuality, all this other different stuff, type of stuff, that you are a bad person. You are this, you are that. He'll get in your ear and he'll get everybody else to say the same thing. But the thing is, you don't know is the devil's trying to destroy the good in this world. It'll camouflage itself in so many other ways. You got to be really vigilant. But the devil wants to kill anything good in this world. If you're a type of person that you're like, dang, man, I just been trying to do good. That's why they say something to the effect of like good people are getting this and this and this and this. It's true to a certain degree. But the thing is, good people don't realize that this is spiritual. People don't realize that people are doing stuff just out of anger, hate, and stuff like that. And so, with that being said, a lot of good people don't realize that, if you operate in good, you operate in the spirit of good or the spirit of bad. All your behavioral characteristics, you got to understand. You're going to be looking at life from one perspective. If you're a person that tries to do good by people, you'll never understand why people do negative. If you're a person that does negative, you'll never understand why people do good. You understand? If you don't have that perception and you don't stand in the middle, you can't see the view in the middle, you'll be messed up. I always say again, like, I took art classes in the past, and they had this real interesting, thing that we were doing where they set up all these items in the room, and then they had everybody sit around in the big circle, and they told everybody to draw. And so everybody drew, and then they compiled the results, and everybody's perspective based on where you were, everybody's perspective was the same. Even if you were right next to a person, your body in some way, shape, or form just shifted just a little bit, and it affected how the person drew. Even though the person is right next to you, is just off a little bit, they probably see something just a little bit different than you. It's a spectrum. Because people all the way on the other side don't even know what's on your side. They'll never see that side. Again, this is how life works a lot of times. If you are on one side, you'll never know what the other side is like if you don't get up and walk around. So, but that again, this is what we deal with a lot of times in this world. It's like we don't understand the perspectives, and we don't understand a lot of stuff is spiritual. And so as a result, we have all this hurt and stuff like that. And again, nobody tells you how to heal because nobody wants you to heal. They would demonize you. They'll do this. If you go out and you seek help and stuff like that, people will try to take advantage of you. And it's disheartening because it's like, what do I do? Again, this is why you got to understand, you cannot rely on the world. You got to reject the world. You got to reject it. You got to reject it. You got to reject it. And it's hard. It's very, very hard. But if you really want to do whatever the hell you want to do, you want to move forward, you want to get out that stuck space, you really have to fundamentally grasp, but you got to let go of the world. The world is not going to, because it's the very moment, hell, you might even know what you want to do, but the very moment you do it, you're afraid because now everybody's going to judge me. Now everybody going to do this, da. And we believe in our heads that this is extremely important for people to love us, for this, and everybody goes, I'm telling you, I went through this so many times, so it's not, I'm like, it's nothing negative. You shouldn't, again, perspective. When people's telling you stuff, do your best not to feel like it's a negative thing. Hear them out. Hear them out. I try, I tried this perspective like angle too. Again, like I was watching, when I was younger, I learned about the KKK and stuff like that. And you hear about people, black people, especially like when I was younger, they were talking about the KKK and so they were making it seem like the KKK will never come in contact with them. And it's a couple of people in history or whatever, black people that sat down with a KKK, the what's the Grand Wizard of the KKK, whatever. And black people be like, this dude's a straight up traitor. Why would you do that? That's stupid. And these people, they don't understand. It's like, it's not to be disrespectful, but these people truly, like, again, they have a mindset that's stuck. It's a stuck mindset. They're stuck on one side of the perspective. They can't fathom why a black person would even sit down with a Ku Klux Klan member and talk about anything. They can't fathom that. But the thing is, they don't realize that the damn Ku Klux Klan, in the same way that you got opinions and things of that nature, you're on one side of of that class. You're joining from your perspective. Why does that dismiss the perspective over here with the Ku Klux Klan members? You know what people will try to do? They'll say, hey, well, the reason why is because we're trying to enlighten. The reason why is because, we're doing it for the good and they're doing it for the bad. When in actuality, and the reasoning is, when in actuality, you look at the actions of both of these groups, these actions are just the same. The only difference is one is saying that they're doing it for righteous reasons. The other one is saying that they're doing it for traditional reasons, liberal and conservative. You see what I'm saying? The tactics is still the same. The liberal people say y'all hurling all these insults and these microaggressions and all these different type of things, and they'll harlot at the conservatives. The conservatives, or not even conservatives, but the traditional or whatever. You could say, we'll just say the stereotypical traditional, okay? White dominated, at least in the American landscape within the last 100 or so years, okay? We're just using that, okay? But on this side, they're saying, look at y'all, like y'all are this, y'all unstable. They have derogatory words. They get to call a person an N-word at a D. But you have these two sides, and both sides are saying that they're right. The tactics that this person over here is using is the same tactic. The only difference is both of the groups think that they are the enlightened one. That's the only difference between these two groups, because in the same vein that like, people like, oh, why would you sit down with the Ku Klux Klan? Why wouldn't you? It's important to understand what the heck that they talking about. Why is it wrong for them to want whatever the hell that they want? You got to understand there's a problem, that in the sense that I'm not necessarily actively saying that I like what the Ku Klux Klan things is doing. But what I'm saying is, why is it okay for you to have a perspective on something, and in the same vein, it's not right for them to have a perspective? And again, people say, oh, well, because we're right, because it's wrong for them to do. Okay, they see in the same vein that you say that they're doing wrong against you, they see you doing wrong against them. Why is your opinion better than theirs? Why is your perspective more valid than theirs? You're on one side of the classroom and they're on the other side of the classroom. Just because y'all both don't agree don't mean that y'all both are wrong. If a white man, whatever the case may be, why is it wrong for him to say, I do not want to my daughter, my son to marry a black person? I want them to marry a white person and carry on our traditions. Why is that wrong? Because I can guarantee you, each and every day, black people say that stuff all the time on TV, everywhere, and nobody bats an eye. Nobody say, oh, when somebody says, yeah, I just want black love. I don't want white people. I don't want this in my blood. Like, I want my black d. Imagine if white people were getting up saying, oh, yeah, I don't want no black people I want to just be with my queen. I want to be with my king. Why is it that your opinion is more so valid than theirs? And again, this is why I'm always harping. You got to understand that the devil's a tricky son of a bitch. I cursed again, but he's very, very tricky. And he keeps you. The real problem is human nature. Is the problem? It's human nature. The devil knows that, but he's trying to convince you of something completely different. He's trying to, and he's effective at it. Again, it's like a narcissist who's running around and telling people things. The narcissist or the narcissist type of people, they're playing both sides. In your face, they're one way, behind your back, they're something else. Their ultimate goal is to destroy you. And in the same vein, it's also in some way, shape, or form sometimes, because again, the devil will come after somebody who's doing good in the earth or whatever, and the devil will come after that person very bad, hardly. And so as a result, the people will walk away. They will walk away from the thing that will bless them the most because somebody's telling them something negative. You see what I'm saying? You see what the devil is doing? He will tell you to turn away from somebody or things or people or places or stuff like that that is good for you, that is the best for you. And he'll manipulate it and make it seem like it's something different. And so you should run away. This is what a narcissistic people will do. This is why they isolate. This is why. And a lot of times it's operating out of jealousy and envy. And most people will never even know it. They won't even know it till it's to the end. But we worship idols. We worship people. We worship money. We worship all these different type of things. And people, again, it might sound abstract to most people. And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But trust me, you either serve one of the two. You either serve God or you serve the devil. I don't care what people say. You either serve one of the two. The devil will convince you that God doesn't exist. The devil would say that there's multiple sides and da-da-dee-dee-dee. At the essential core, there's a yin and there's a yang. There's a yin and there's a yang. You know what I mean? We as people, we fall in between. I always say, you got black and white and the 50 shades of gray. We fall in between God and, the devil a lot of times. The devil can kind of, if you're close to the devil can, whatever. He'll probably give you things on earth and this and this and this and this. But at the same time, your ego feels good on earth, but your soul is gone or it's hurting or whatever the case may be. In the same vein, on the other side, you can be living for God, but your ego, your body, your flesh is you're going to be going through it on one of the two sides. You got to pick it. You know what I mean? Like you either going to pick. That's why a lot of people, they don't understand that aspect. You pick each and every day, whether or not you know it. You pick which side that you're on. And you do this through your spirit and stuff like that. Your spirit of, you got to keep your spirit healthy. And again, I'm not trying to hear to preach people because I do a lot of stuff and my spirit ain't always healthy. You know what I mean? Like everybody's spirit is not healthy at times. You do stuff like, you know what I mean? Like nobody's perfect. But you're doing your best to move forward and do well in life. And if you don't do that, you will never level up in the way that you want to. You'll never because God is the only one that's going to level you up to that level. The devil will never level you up. He'll tell you he will. He'll do all these things. And even when people get the money, the cars, the fame, and all these other different type of things, how happy are they at the end of the damn day? How happy are they? How happy? You know what I mean? Like people be putting on. And again, I'm not trying to step on people's toes. It's just the reality. It's just the truth. When I say the truth, again, the truth is love, man. It's straight up love. Like I love you. If I love you, I'm going to tell you the truth. Because I don't want you to fall down. I don't want you to get hurt. At least I'm going to warn you. If I know an area is dangerous at this time of day, and you say, yeah, I'm about to go over there. If I love you and I care for you, I'm like, dude, don't go over there. Don't you go over there. If I didn't love you, a lot of times I'd be like, okay, go ahead, do what you got to do. If I was resentful, evil, whatever the case may be, and I let the spirits get in me, like I recommend it. You could be all the way on the other side, say, oh yeah, you should go up over here at this time of day. They be doing this, and this, and they're tricking you to set you up. You see what I'm saying? Like, but this is the devil. This is how the devil operates. And he operates in a way where he wants you to worship everything on this earth and all these idols and stuff like that they're building. They're ultimately worshiping him. Point blank, period. That's the overall. That's the overall. People say that's so far-fetched. It's not far-fetched. And the moment you realize that it's not far-fetched, and the moment you realize they have you worshiping people. Your religion is whatever. Again, I always say Kanye West. How many people walk like Kanye West? How many people live the words of what Kanye West is saying? How many people dress like him, try to act like him, try to do this? Kanye West sounds like Jesus, doesn't he? Kanye West seems like a small God, doesn't he? He has all this power in us. And I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about Kanye West, and he's just used as an example. He did have Yeezus dust, but he's just an example. But really and truly, like you got to understand these people. They're out here trying to pimp everybody. They're trying to pimp people. They're not trying to. They're effective at pimping people because we don't understand it as a group. Like when things get weary and stuff like that, and we don't have that truth of where we're going and stuff like that, we tend to fall into this state where. Again, nobody wants to hear the truth. Everybody's suffocating the truth, but the truth is going to set you free. And if you don't acknowledge the truth, a lot of times again, you gotta be truthful to yourself. This is a spiritual thing. When you say the truth and stuff like that, people gonna hate you, and you gotta get ready for that. But if you want your soul to be better, you want to be happy on a daily basis. If you want to, because again, that money, them cars, those clothes, they're never gonna make you happy. Your ego might feel good. Yeah, people gonna big you up in your ego. Yeah, oh dog, you did, da. But at the end of the day, when you go home, how you feel? At the end of the day, how long can you stand in the corner with yourself? At the end of the day, how can because you got everything in comparison to societal standards, you got everything. You'll be surprised. People who have everything will be jealous of a person on the street. They'd be jealous of a person that's homeless. They'd be jealous. That person barely got money in their pocket. Why would they be jealous of that? It's because that homeless person, quiet enough, has something that the egotistical person will never have. It's the spiritual things of God, like the peace, the harmony, the happiness, the this, the that. You know what I mean? Like the way that you can move and draw and gravitate towards people and stuff like that. Money can't buy that. The thing is, God can give it to you though. He will give it to you if you reject the world. If you keep on in rejecting the world, very well means that you gotta reject friends. You gotta reject jobs. You gotta reject families. You gotta reject this. And people don't want you to do that. They don't want you to do that because it's the spirit inside of them. It's the devil inside of them. And it's not to be, again, it's not a negative thing, but a lot of people's spirit were wounded. And so, again, when I gave that analogy at the very beginning, it's equivalent to you're the biggest, strongest dude on the block, but because you got stabbed and stuff like that, and you never took care of those wounds, the smaller dudes that would have never tried you when you were strong, they're trying you now because they understand you in a position of weakness, because your spirit is weak, and they want to convince you to do anything to protect your spirit or to to heal yourself from within and stuff like that, and start to really truly go within yourself. He wants you to make sure that everybody thinks that you're crazy and stuff like that. A lot of people that be jealous and envious because they don't know how to do it. They don't know. They live lives of misery because they don't know how to fix it. And this is the thing. I'm trying to, again, this is why I say with everything I'm saying. I truly am trying to help people. I truly care, and for people in general. You got to understand that nothing in this world is ever gonna make you happy. I mean, meaning like I need this to be happy. I need to. No. How often do you have celebrities taking themselves out? How often do you have that type of stuff? Even celebrities who didn't take that, how often do you have these people out here dying each and every day? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, just because you got that don't make you happy. But that's what the devil wants you to think. That doesn't make you content, but that's what the devil wants you to think. That the friends, you got everybody love you on earth and stuff. Like, you got all these, but a lot of times until you find out those people are not even real. You ain't getting all this money, but you realize that money can't buy you happiness. That money can't buy you joy, and that's it. You got the world. Is a Bible quote that says, "What does it mean to gain the world, but in the end lose your soul?" Meaning that you can be here on earth. You got everything that the world says that you should be successful with, and you are not happy. All that money, all that fame, all that stuff. At the end of the day, it really don't. People can talk highly of you and everything like that, but at the end of the day, it don't make you feel good. It don't none for you. It's a miserable life. It's like, I don't know what to do. And so with understanding what to do, this is what I personally had to do in order to increase your spiritual level or stuff like that, or just get closer. A lot of times you got to understand, you got to isolate yourself. If you around, again, when you reject the world, God is going to accept you. But when you accept the world, God is going to reject you. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't reject the world, He's going to reject you. And if you accept Him, if you accept God, then the world's going to reject you. It's a yin. I'm telling you, it's a yin and a yang. Life is balanced. When people are coming at you and they're saying something and it's not balanced, you got to understand somebody's trying to run some game on you. Again, I harp on this with these social programs and stuff like that. It's not to come at women, but again, we have this term toxic masculinity, and people sound dumb. They look dumbfounded when you say, what about toxic femininity? People, they look dumbfounded. Like, what are you talking about? Like, they actually think that you're like kind of like slow or something. There's no such thing. And it's like these people don't understand. Yes, it is. If there's toxic masculinity, there has to be toxic femininity. You got to understand that these people is playing you. They're playing you. They're telling you, when has anything, if you missing one leg and you're moving around, do you think you're going to be, what you're going to do? You're going to probably be hopping around, or you need a wheelchair. You're not going to be able to just walk. If you know what I mean? Like, if you're missing half of something, in most cases, if you're missing an arm, it's going to be hard to pick up boxes and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have balance. You have to have balance. And so when things are unbalanced, what happens? One falls and the other one rises up. Something, and that means that there's injustice. Somebody's lying. This not right. You understand what I'm saying? When somebody's coming at you and they're talking about something and it's not balanced, it's not on all. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. Something is wrong. They're not. They're not there. They're trying to manipulate you. No, this is balanced. This is good. This is good. No, it's not. How can you use injustice to promote justice? That's what they do a lot of times. They give a weapon to minority groups to say, here, use this injustice weapon to create justice for yourself. And we don't realize that we're taking that weapon and just like a teeter-totter, it's like you're a fat boy and then the other person's going all the way up in the sky. And people are like, no, it's just because white people have been ruling the world and white people, I mean, at least like white men. I always say that these people manage. They're not the manager. They're not the owner or the CEO of the company. They're simply the manager of the company. They're the manager. Okay, they don't make any real decisions and stuff like that. And they do have more power, but they can get fired just like everybody else. And so that's why you see on the news today, white men are attacked. And I always ask this question: if white men were in positions of authority, if white men were truly making up everything, why in the world are white men producing and putting out negative images of other white men? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? They would not do that. How many times do you trying to build yourself or whatever? How often do you try to put negative things out about yourself? You know, you can think about that on an individualistic level. Do you want to be successful? Don't you? Do you want to be powerful? Don't you want to do all these different type of things? So why would you put a negative image? Why would you create a negative image to yourself? Because when you create that negative image, a lot of times you're gonna take the power away from yourself in a lot of different type of ways. So why would white men do that? Why would they do it? Why would they give it up? They would give it up because they never had the power in the very first place. That's why they're getting pushed to the back of the burner right now. And we don't understand that. And we just looking at white men, oh yeah, we're just beating the patriarchy. You got to understand these motherfuckers is lying through their teeth. They're lying. I'm not saying that white people in the past were bad. All I'm trying to get at is something's wrong. Something is very, very wrong. This system is not balanced. How is it that women can get on TV and talk stuff about men, but men cannot get on TV and talk stuff about women? Why is it that people who are in this sexual community can talk stuff about this people in this sexual community and you know, if the roles were reversed, you know, they'll get rejected or something negative is going to happen. You know what I mean? Why is that? Why are they giving the power to certain people? Why is it that one person's feelings, these people who are the minority up over here, why are their feelings even more important than the majority? Because a lot of the reforms, a lot of people don't agree with. But yet we say, hey, well, you guys can't do that because of the trauma that this group over here has been experiencing. And the thing is, it's like, okay, in the same vein that you're experiencing trauma, do you not understand you're also inflicting trauma on me? Do you not, you know what I mean? Like, in the same vein that you're saying, oh, we need to, like, it's injustice that you have this, and this. It's injustice that, for the same reason, I say it's injustice that we got to have this, and this. What makes your opinion more and better than the other person? Because you're enlightened? Is because of what? What exactly is the reason? You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get on people. It's like, I'm trying to get people to understand. These people are pimping you. And it's the damn devil. The devil is pimping you left and right. Things need to be balanced. They need to be balanced. There's no way in the world. Systems that are not balanced, they collapse, they go, they fall. So when things are not balanced. So with all that being said, if there's a such thing as toxic masculinity, there's a such thing as toxic femininity. You understand? The two have to be balanced. I always get, here's one more example I'll give you with this balance. You can think about if you ever, you know, let me just say this. I don't know 100% about treatments and stuff like that, but I'm going to talk about cancer. So, you know, but with cancer Cancer, if you don't know, cancer is it's typically when some part of your body, it's like your cells are replicating inside your body quickly and they're not stopping for whatever reason. And so as a result, it's creating this, what this tumor. Have you ever heard of the central dogma of life? The central dogma of life is the pathway in which you go from a single cell to an organism, you know? So what do I mean with that? Like if you can think about it like you have the very first thing is your cell, a very, very small little cell. You add a collection of cells together, you get tissue. When you add a whole bunch of tissues together, you get an organ, like your heart, your lungs, your this, your that. When you combine all your a whole bunch of organs together, you have your organism, aka that's who you are. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So, but even when this situation with cancer is like replicating, okay, and it's going down this pathway. It doesn't create an organ. It might create a tumor. I don't think a tumor is an organ. But it's like it creates, you know, at least a built up tissue, at least. you know. And so with all that being said, as a result, because it's building up all that, you are likable. You're liable to die because of what the cancerous cells are taking resources from other cancers. You know what I mean? Like if you're like in a village and you're hogging all the resources to buy, just only do one thing, the rest of the village is going to suffer. Is because everybody else don't have the energy, the material stuff, like to complete their own projects or whatever, to build the infrastructure. And eventually, if if a person is so selfish and they're taking all the resources and stuff like that, building whatever they want, the rest of the society will crumble. The body is going to crumble. If the cells is over here taking everything, eventually the body is going to crumble because it's like lacking in other places. You understand what I'm saying? And so with all that being said, what they do is, in order to help you, because if you don't, it's going to be deadly if you have cancer. They, again, I don't know all the things about treatment, but I'm just going to use this as an example. You can think about chemotherapy. What chemotherapy is, it's a toxic. It's a toxic thing. And what it does is, when it's put into your brain, into your body system, I think they also use lasers. I don't know. I don't know exactly how they do it, but it triggers a notion called apoptosis. And apoptosis means that the cells burst, that they did. Essentially, this toxic will destroy the cells in your body, those cells in your bodies. And people are like, well, that it sounds counterintuitive. It sounds very counterintuitive. Why would I put toxic in my body to kill cells? If cells is the cells is the primary start of the central dogma of life. Meaning, if these people are killing off the cells, then that means that the tissue will never grow, i.e., the organ will never grow, and then the organism will never be there, i.e., that you'll never be there. You know what I mean? Like but why are we attacking the very first? Why are we destroying the cells? The reason why you're destroying the cells is because it's eliminating the excess cells that are there. It's eliminating them, and it's doing something to the degree where all those cells, or that whatever that cancerous thing is there, is lowering everything. You know what I mean? It's lowering it, but at the same time, you got to take those toxics, because now you feel very, very sick and stuff like that because of this, because you're getting that chemotherapy. You see? And so with that being said, it's, again, you see this balance where they have to pump poison. Both sides are horrific. The cells are important, and the toxic is also important, because if you don't put that toxic chemotherapy into you, you can potentially die. You know what I mean? You're going to die. So, again, it's balanced. Even if both of the sides are toxic, it's still balanced, So with all that being said, I definitely, like, at the very beginning, I gave this little soliloquy of like sometimes in life, in order to like reach that higher spiritual level, sometimes you gotta understand how to reconcile. You gotta again, the beginning of the Bible says something to the effect of the beginning of wisdom is having the fear of God in you. So people who don't have the fear of God, they're not wise people. It's not to be disrespectful to them, but that's just literally what it is. You know what I mean? But again, the devil wants you to like stay a fool, because if you, and again, he tries to do everything to block you away from God, to make you think that God doesn't exist, to do this, and this, and this. If God is real, again, the devil used that purgatory truth, the Kool-Aid method. If God is real, why would God allow all this bad stuff on earth to happen? If God is real, why would God do this? If God is real, why would he do this? If God is real, that's what he'll get in your head. That's what he'll get into your head. And the thing is, with God, again, you got to understand the devil and God are at oppositions. So what you think about on earth, what will happen in earth, or whatever the case may be, we think in a certain type of way, because that's how the devil has convinced us. But in actuality, the method that the devil is telling everybody to go is the wrong way. That's why a lot of people are feeling empty inside. It's the devil. That's how he operates. That's what he feels inside. So everything that rejects God is rejecting, everything that rejects your soul is rejecting God. Everything, and when I say your soul, I mean your individuality, your creativeness, whoever God made you to be on this earth. That's what I'm talking about with your soul, because God gives you that soul, but he tries to convince you. So he wants to convince you that God is not real, that all this stuff, that you can do whatever you want. The devil's getting so damn bold. He had made a movie called Babylon. It's like this crazy, the biblical city in the story. It's just like, this dude don't even care no more. You know what I mean? It sounds so far-fetched, I know, but it's the truth. It's really, really the truth. So, like, in rejecting the devil, or rejecting the earth, you're gonna accept God. I'm sorry, in rejecting the earth, you're gonna accept. I mean, God's gonna accept you, but the earth is gonna reject you. Then it's gonna reject you. So, but even before you even get to that point, you got to come to a conclusion to say, okay, well, dang, man, I did something dirty to somebody. I mean, like I did all this wrong in my life, and my spirit is real, real heavy. How do I fix my spirit? You fix your spirit by, again, you got to understand that the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. If you don't think God is real, and if you don't think all that stuff, it says something to the effect of like, he gives people reprobated minds, meaning like these foolish, very, very foolish and ignorant minds. And it's not to say that they're bad people or whatever, but they don't, it's because they don't fear God, they have no wisdom to them. They don't know what's coming next because as a result, because the devil's don't have that wisdom. He's not going to give you, the God gives you wisdom. That's how you will know what happens next. But if you're rejecting God, you'll never have it. If you don't fear God, you'll never have that wisdom. It's exactly, again, it's the opposite. It's the very opposite. God puts you through pain and stuff like that on purpose. He puts you through pain on purpose. And you'd be like, not necessarily on purpose, but again, this is the devil's domain. So pain is going to happen to you. And the thing is, again, based on our perspectives, like I said a little while back, perspectives are so important because, again, like I said, that you got two different sides. You're in that classroom drawing, and on both sides, it's two different type of you see two different type of things, two completely different type of things. So what we see as negative on this earth is actually a blessing in disguise. As crazy as it seems, all that trauma and all the stuff you went through, it's not meant to break you. It's actually meant to strengthen you. But the devil has convinced people to never look at it, never address it, never do this, never do that. Because the reason why he wants you never to address it is because if you never addressed it, he has you. You're done. You're a done deal because your trauma is now controlling you. Your spirit is weak, and now these dudes that never tried you is trying you because you're in this spiritually weak place, and the devil wants to take you out. He wants to destroy any goodness in this world. Destroy it. Destroy it. Destroy it. This is why we see good people as weak people. We see people that love us as stupid, loyal. They're stupid. That's our. Then we'll turn around and it's like, why don't we have meaningful relationships? It's like we don't treat each other right in our personal relationships. How can we then turn around and whatever, how can what I mean, like how can you then turn around and say like you did all this dirt to other people, and then you're gonna turn around and say like, oh, why is it no real people, a lot of d. It's like, it's not to be disrespectful. Again, it's just the truth. You just gotta accept the truth. It's like you gotta understand you contributed to it. You don't have to participate. You don't. But the devil operates in fear. This is another thing that the devil has. God did not give you a spirit of fear. So if you feel fearful of something, you got to reject that. You got the devil instills fear because the fear is what controls you. God gives you love. God does not give you fear. But the devil wants you to fear everything. He wants you to fear, oh, I'm scared. And this is why they keep on pumping all this stuff on the TV. They're trying to get you afraid. That's what I'm talking about with these diseases and these things of that nature with the health field. He's trying to get you to a place where you are afraid. You're afraid of everything. Again, the beginning of wisdom is when you reject the world and you accept God. And you fear God. That's the only time. Otherwise, you're going to be foolish. You're going to have a reprobated mind type thing, You're going to have a very, very reprobated mind. So, but, you got to, again, I talked about fear. Fear is associated with the devil. So if you feel any type of fear, you got to understand the devil in your head. And that's why you got to like work on some of your other spiritual things, like in terms of, do your best to try to like do right by other people and come to people with good faith. Everybody, we mess up and stuff. Like everybody, like, you got to understand that you guys say to God, God, I messed up a lot in my life. I'm a sinner a lot. And like, and he knows that everybody's, a lot of people are sinners and stuff like that. But the thing is, it's like, you go to God, like, I'm sorry, God, like, I am a sinner. I did this person dirty. I did this person dirty. I did this person. Sometimes it's important just to admit that you did somebody dirty. Sometimes it's just important to admit that you were a victim of something. Sometimes it's just, and not a victim from the place that you're going to stay and dwell there, but understanding something probably happened to you. You didn't necessarily deserve what happened to you. You know what I mean? That's what I mean when I'm saying a victim, because a victim is you can be a victim, but if you perpetually stay a victim, that's the different. That's a negative thing. You know what I mean? Like that's where it becomes very, very bad. And again, the devil wants you to stay in that energy. Because as long as you stay in that energy, people don't understand that when you stay in that energy that like I'm a victim, you are literally giving your power away from other people, because you're saying these people control my life. It's almost like you're saying that the people control me, which is not the case whatsoever at all. But that's exactly what you're saying when you're saying like you have that victim mentality. Well, I do this because these people did this, this, and this, and this. You don't understand. Your spirit is hurting as a result. Your spirit is really, really hurting as a result because of that mentality, and you feel like you have no power whatsoever. When in actuality, the moment that you say, the thing is, you can say, yes, I was a victim, but I won't stay a victim. Yes, it happened to me, but I got through it, and you can help other people. Well, the devil will try to make you feel like you should be shamed. You should. Oh, everybody's gonna hate you. You should be ashamed of yourself. All these negative, different type of thoughts, which keeps us in that state. Or he'll tell you, dang, man, look what they did to you. Dang, they did this, you did that, and then you'll dwell on it. And don't get me wrong, man, it's hard to move on when somebody does you dirty. But you gotta keep on pushing. But the devil wants you to stay in that energy, because as long as you stay in that energy, you'll never figure out who you are. As long as you stay in that energy, you'll never get back towards God. If you stay in that energy, you'll never get there. Never. You'll never figure out who you truly are. You'll never do nothing. So, the next thing that you can do to help build your spirit or get back to your spiritual gifts or whatever, the next thing that you need to do is you got to be isolated from people. That's one. Again, isolation is great peace. It's great. The devil wants to isolate you on purpose, because again, we're humans, we're animals. Just like animals, we operate in a certain type of way. It's just the fact that we have the conscious thought and stuff like that. We have conscious thoughts, and we have the ability to do right and wrong. We have free will. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference between us and animals. That's why you say, like, you see some people that are like very animalistic. You know what I mean? That's what they're talking about is in their animalistic type of nature. Like we behave like barbarians or something like that. We act just like animals. We just act like animals a lot of times. But even with acting like animals and stuff like that, one of the traits of animals and most people, most creatures on this world is fear. Fear is huge. You know what I mean? Fear dictates a lot, and we're like equivalent to a squirrel half the time. A squirrel would be afraid if he's seeing something that didn't know what it was and it's moving towards you and stuff like that. The squirrel doesn't really doesn't really care about what it is. The squirrel just gets away because it sees it as danger. And it could be something very, very harmless. That it wouldn't hurt the squirrel. But the squirrel didn't know that, and the squirrel does not take that chance, because the squirrel understands that most things in the world can kill them. And so as a result, the squirrel has to operate in a certain type of manner. And so with humans, we're kind of like the same way, in the sense that we need to group up. Again, we're a part of human nature is fear. And so we have to group up with other people, because if you are alone and isolated, it's equivalent to like that squirrel, where the squirrel is seeing something that comes towards him or whatever. It's like the squirrel understands that it could be, it's in a vulnerable spot or whatever, if it doesn't run away or move fast. We as humans, it's the same thing that we do. Like we group up with other people and we reject stuff is because it's too scary. It's too scary, and it makes us fearful. You know what I mean? We're fearful people. And so that's why the devil wants to continuously instill fear, because when you're instilling the fear, you have no love. You don't got love, because the fear is the opposite of love. That's why you're like, dang, man, why can't I love people? It's because you don't, you have that fear. With humans, one of the biggest fears is being by yourself alone, because again, you feel vulnerable. You feel very much more vulnerable. But again, this is what and for most people who don't have that spiritual connection and everything like that, for those people who don't understand that those people just don't understand that that isolation is a beautiful thing. But the devil wants you to think that you are all these worthless, worthless, this. If you're isolated. If you're this is why introverted people, they get demonized a lot of times, that's not necessarily all the time, but but sometimes we prefer extroverts in comparison to introverts, and sometimes people think that introverts are just crazy or whatever, and some of them are. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of times that's where you get your peace. In that isolation, that's when God will gonna come to you. It's in that isolation when you're around people. especially people who are out here doing dirty and whatever case may be. You could be doing dirty, but as long as you're around that stuff, like he can't come to talk to you. He cannot come down there and talk to you or whatever case may be. So isolation is important because that's where he's going to get to you. There's a lot of times, and that's where you can build yourself. You can start to work on. You can look at all those demons that you got inside of you. And I'm not saying demon. What I'm saying is you can start to address that trauma that you've been through. That trauma, whatever the trauma indicate, and understanding that, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. But at the same time, it's going to hurt for a little while and it's going to work out for your good in the future. Because what happened with that trauma when you were younger or older or whatever, that trauma was there for a reason. The trauma was there because God was trying to teach you lessons. He was trying to teach you something. But again, the devil gets in our ear. It makes us feel like we should be shameful and this and that you should hide all that stuff. Don't do that. That's not cool. That's da. You're a weak person. You're this. And if you listen to it, and everybody's been in that situation where they listen to it, every single body on this earth, whether you listen to it, you start to like demonize the pain that you felt when you were younger and you went through pain. A lot of times you cried it out. A lot of times you did this. A lot of times you did that. In some way, shape, or form, when you were younger and you didn't care about as much about the opinions of other people and stuff like that, you would just let it out. But what the devil, and you don't feel shame when you're a child. It's only when you get a little bit older when you feel shame for acting a certain type of, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. Again, you can't be vulnerable with everybody, but to a certain degree, you got to go back in and like experience. When you're a child, you're honest about what the heck happened. You're honest about this, and this, and this. You don't have the severity of it. It's not until you get out into the world, or maybe even with your family to a certain degree, or not to a certain degree, to a large degree, because a lot of times your family is the very first type of trauma that you got to heal. As crazy as it sounds, because a lot of times they give you the blueprint of what you're going to go through outside because that's what they were going through. That doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that that's what they were going through. So they can teach you. They're going to give you what they got. And so they're going to give you what they went through. Okay? It don't make these people, it doesn't make your parents or nothing like that, or whatever. It don't make them bad people at all. It just means that this is what they're going through. They just haven't probably figured out how to fix it. They don't, or whatever. Or the pain is just too much. They don't know how to get up and move. And that's real. But in facing that trauma that you've been through, not only the trauma that you've been through, but also what you have done to other people. That's another big one. Because now, again, it's guilt and it's shame. But the thing is, people, we already feel that guilt and that shame each and every day. That's why we have that emptiness inside. And the only thing that we can feel even a little bit better, we can get we can get gratification, like a little bit like shorter term gratification by going out and doing dirty to other people. You know what I mean? Like that's how we get that gratification, because of that hurt inside. And again, like I said earlier, even though you got hurt and you had to go through all the different type of stuff, when you got up, your objective was not to carry that burden and then inflict that same type of pain that you went to onto other people. Some people will inflict it on other people, and they'll make it 20 times worse than what they went through, or their best, because they want to kill anything good inside, because they're not good inside, so they want to kill anything that's good. And again, people live on egos and this and that and whatever they live. That's how they live on. And so people's egos is too big, and so when people see you and they feel like you got whatever, their ego is damaged, so they want to destroy anything good in this world. They feel like he's better than, it's all about them. That's the narcissist. That's the devil. But I don't know. But yeah, but he wants to again, he wants to keep you in this perpetual state of trying, thinking about your image and this and this and this and this and this. A lot of times, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to look like a certain type of way to the people. But again, it's gonna work out for your better. People gonna turn away from you. People gonna try to make fun of you. Not make fun of you. People they're gonna switch you up. They're gonna do this. And they'll claim that you're doing something, but in actuality, you're just trying to get your stuff together. But a lot of times, again, when people come up to you, you got to understand people use purgatory truths and that Kool-Aid method because they're trying to get you to feel bad for doing whatever you're doing. And again, a lot of times it's the devil operating, a demonic spirit. It's not to say that they're bad, but they don't want to see you healing because they don't know how to do that. They rather you stay where they are. So as a result, they're going to do whatever. So that you can stay where they are. They'll demonize you. They'll call you crazy. That, why are you doing this? That, again, it's the devil that's trying to convince you to stop because he does not want you to heal yourself. But with all that being said, you gotta experience that trauma. You gotta like work through that trauma, whatever trauma that you experience. Everybody's experienced challenge, and when you go through that trauma, you'll begin to understand what lesson God was trying to teach you the whole time. The pain that you feel is on purpose. Everything that is pleasurable on this earth is typically not pleasurable to God in the sense that like it's not pleasing to God. In the same vein, the things that we do in comparison to our spirit, our flesh is going to be like broken down a lot, but it's pleasing to God. Your soul is pleasing to God, and your interior is good, or it's getting better, or whatever the case. You're getting stronger and more confident, but your interior is good. But the world is going. Your exterior can be bad. I had to go through a season. It's like it's crazy. When it rains, it pours. Everything in my life was like it's like everything just falls apart, and it's like what in the world just happened? You know what I mean? What just happened? When all my whole world came crashing down and stuff like that. And I realized now that God was trying to get me through a whole bunch of different type of tasks and stuff like that, so I could turn around and help other people. Because a lot of people, again, they don't know how to heal themselves. They don't know how to get through the stuff that they've been through. They don't understand how to do that. And the very first thing you got to do is isolate yourself. Oh no, actually, you got to be fear. You really got to understand that you got to have the fear of God. You got to be really fearful of God. And not in the sense it's a respectful fear, and you shouldn't be doing it with other, like, to a certain degree. You got to pick and battle, but you got to understand, like, you got to ask God for wisdom and stuff like that. But in all, you got to say, you're a sinner or whatever. You did this, and because when you're saying that, you're rejecting the world. You're rejecting the world. And so it's pleasing to God because everything that the devil loves is like anything that we think is normal. It's the opposite. Like God does the exact opposite. So we think that it's the devil that's causing us this pain. It's not to say that the God is causing you that pain. God may allow you to go through that pain from the simple fact that he's trying to strengthen you. He's trying to, and when you get stronger and you start to deal with whatever you've been through, you will be able to go help other people. You'll get to the other side. But again, it's the devil that's telling you not to go do it. He's making you fearful of everything. Sometimes you just got to have a step, but you got to really believe in God. You got to really be fearful of God, because if you don't, not like a religious fear. You got people who say they fear God, but they do whatever they want. It's like a more so religious fearing God. You know what I mean? Again, it's not to knock those people. I'm talking about truly, 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 truly. You got to believe that. You got to believe in God and understanding, like, you got to reject the world. I.e., you got to rebuke your sins, that whatever you did on this earth or whatever you currently are doing or whatever. Essentially, reject the earth. Reject the earth. If you reject the earth, you can have everything on this earth, money, cars, fame. Does it bring you happiness? No, but God does. So you got to reject that stuff. You got to reject it all. You got to reject the earth. And then the second thing is, you gotta forgive. You gotta forgive people. You gotta forgive your people, and you gotta forgive yourself, and admit the stuff that happened in your life, and kind of like stop running from it. Not kind of like stop running from it. If you don't realize that you're running from yourself. You're running away from happiness. You're running away, which is you and the trauma that you went through, because it's a blessing in that. That pain, as crazy as it sounds again, the pain was a blessing to you, whether or not you know it. It's a blessing. It's a blessing, not a curse. It's a blessing. You might not understand it now, but on your spiritual journey, you'll get it in time. It was a blessing, not a curse. The pain helped me propel me forward. Had I not gone through that pain, I would have just stayed in this area. I've been more fearful. But now that I've looked at the trauma I've been through and I got through it, I'm much stronger now than I was yesterday or not, years back. Like, I'm so much stronger. And when you get a little bit stronger, it's equivalent to that guy that was out there. You're the biggest dude on the block, and somebody stabbed you. You can think of that like, you at least you at one point you cleaned the wound that you had. And now, as a result, a little bit of the function of your leg is coming back, i.e., like the smaller dudes that's attacking you, you can easily get rid of them very quickly. I.e., these are like demonic spirits. Some of them you can get rid of, but that doesn't mean that all of them are gone. They're still fighting you. The bigger and the stronger ones are still fighting you. You were, by healing yourself a little bit, you were able to ward off, the very lower level type of demonic spirits. You understand what I'm saying? That's what you were able to kind of knock off. But as you keep on healing, another thing you gotta again just admit it. Like, Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for what happened. Sometimes we blame ourselves for even being victims. But the thing is, you got to understand that shame and stuff, that's the devil. It is the devil, and he's trying to shame you. He's trying to shame you into saying, like, how come you're so stupid and you didn't know that? How come you're this? How come? He'll try to make you feel like you're defective. He'll try to make you seem like you only went through that pain because you were dumb. The only reason why you went through that pain because you were this, you were that. And it's a lie. It's a lie from the pits of hell. The reason why you went through that pain is because God's trying to teach you something. He's trying to teach you something. And the moment you go in there and you start to look at it, in time, he will reveal whatever he was trying to teach you the entire time. You also, it's important, if you can, reconcile with other people. You admit to yourself you did some slimy, grimy stuff. I did slimy, grimy stuff in my past. Everybody be doing slimy, grimy stuff. You got to admit that you did that. Again, when you admit it, what you're doing is you're conflicting the flesh. But at the same time, you're releasing a burden on your soul. You'll feel lighter once you start to, like, what, I did that on purpose. Whatever. I did this person dirty. I did this person real dirty. Sometimes you did a person dirty and you never went back to apologize. And I'm not talking about apologize like, sorry, can we do? No, I'm talking about sincerely apologize for what you did. And the thing is, in thinking about forgiveness, the thing is, people may not ever forgive you for what you did to them. And you might have to just carry that cross. You got to carry that burden. With time, God will definitely lift it. But sometimes that's the karma that you got to deal with for a while. Is because of what you did. You just got to, you know what I mean? Like, you did somebody dirty, you said that they did, or you burnt, whatever you've done, and you come to acceptance that you did that, you're rejecting your flesh, you're rejecting your body, you're going to reject your ego. Your ego is going to be taking a great blow to that. Because now you feel like, oh, I'm a bad person. But it's not that, you're not a bad person. You did make bad mistakes. You did make bad choices and stuff like that. But the thing is, you're not a bad person because you're trying to change it. You're trying to change your life. You're trying to do it for the better. You know what I mean? Even when you were doing it, it's not, you're going to be held accountable. You're always going to be held accountable. But there's also understanding that, you went out there, you hurt people to hurt people. But if you got to go out there and you got to sincerely apologize to people. Sincerely, like very, very sincerely. Like no half-ass, no type of apology, like no motives whatsoever. Like sincerely apologize. And when I'm saying sincerely, really think about that when you by yourself and start to write down things that you did intentionally. Just say the things that you did intentionally. And the thing is, another big thing is personal accountability. If you sit there and you just say all these things, well, I did this because of this person, I did it, you'll never get to where you need to go. You got to understand that. Because again, what you're doing is you're giving your power to man. You're idolizing a man or people or the devil in general, meaning like you're kind of almost like worshiping these people, because now your behavior, your movements, your steps, just like how I said with the Bible, you follow the words and stuff like that. The same vein, you do that like with you do that with with people you hurt and stuff like you do the same thing. Like you want to run away from it. You don't want to admit it, and you want to take the responsibility and you want to give it off to somebody else and say that I did all these actions because this person made me do it. And it's like, no, the reason why you're still hurting is because you haven't grasped the concept. No, you did what you did. Even though you was a victim, you did what you did. You didn't have to retaliate in the way that you did. It's not to condemn you or condemn anybody. It's not about judgment. But you got to come to the fundamental understanding that you did, even if they did something terrible to you. They could have shot you in the leg and you shot them back. It does not, you still picked up a gun and you took the gun and you aimed and you pulled that trigger and killed them. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fundamental understanding. And so that's what I mean with personal accountability. Or personal accountability, again, when I gave the example earlier, you could have been walking through an alleyway and you got hurt or armed or whatever the case may be, and you're 100% the victim. You're 100% the victim. But at the same time, and taking personal accountability for that situation, you got to understand that you were the one that walked down that doggone alleyway. It's great power in taking personal accountability, because now a lot of people don't realize they're giving every ounce of their power to other people, and they don't realize it because they don't take personal accountability. Oh, the government is the reason why we're this way. Oh, this is the reason why we're this way. Oh, this is the reason why and some people don't want to ever change. They just want to be that victim. And if that's not you, then don't if that's not you, you ain't got to worry about that. if you genuinely like just change and get your soul better, but that's not everybody. It's like, you got to take personal accountability. I'm talking about personal accountability for everybody. You hear couples, you hear a dude on this side and a woman on this side. The baby mama, she all this, she all this, she all this. And then on the other side, the baby father, he all this, he all this, he all this. Sometimes, you got to understand that, if, y'all both played a role in whatever type of relationship that it is, if it's toxic or this or that, but just like how y'all both played a role in making the baby, y'all both had to take personal accountability for the stuff that y'all have done in that relationship. You got to put it on yourself. You can't, and understanding that, like, even though you were the victim, you still took the action, and it's powerful because now in the future, you know what to avoid, and you don't avoid it. Again, God is wisdom. When you fear God, you get wisdom. When you do things, and you move forward from whatever trauma you've experienced, and you took personal accountability and stuff like that, you are going to have wisdom, and you can move and maneuver throughout this world now because of what you've been through. Again, that pain gave you a gift. It was a gift in disguise. It's a blessing. The things that we believe is a blessing, the things that we think that getting a new car is a blessing. No, the pain that you went through is a new blessing. That's the blessing right there, because that new car is going to break down eventually. That new car, and you ain't going to be happy after a while. It'll get old to you within a week or two, or maybe a little bit longer. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, that car is only going to last for so long. That's not the blessing. The blessing is the pain that you went through. Because now you're stronger than what your spirit is higher. Your spirit is lighter. And now you're going to go through another test. And as you keep on, you're going to keep on elevating in your spirit and everything like that, because you're passing different type of tests. But you got to reconcile. You got to take a personal accountability and say sorry to the people that you messed over, and forgive them and forgive yourself. And forgiveness, again, is always for you. If you was a person that was 100% a victim, again, this is where personal accountability comes from, in the sense that, yeah, you went through, you went through all that type of stuff, and for whatever reason, you went through it for whatever reason, but now, you're healing, you're doing this, you're doing that, and taking personal accountability, you understand the role that you play. You're going to help yourself in the end. You truly will. Your spirit's going to be higher. You're going to be able to be more so creative and understanding who God made you to be. But that person, it's why this personal accountability, the personal accountability is super strong. I mean, super important. It's very, 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 very important. You know what I mean? And with that being said, with the forgiveness aspect, because you take personal accountability, you give yourself the ability to forgive yourself for what you did to other people, or what you did to yourself, or whatever, or what you did in general. Sometimes it's important to forgive yourself, even though you could have killed 10 people. You could have did 10 people, whatever, and they didn't deserve it. And you got this very, very low spirit about it. Even with those 10 bodies, what you can do is you can admit it, take personal accountability, and in a lot of ways, forgive yourself. And now, don't forgive yourself just to go back and do it again. Forgive yourself in the sense that, like, I did this. And at the same time, even though I did this, I know where my error, my ways. I know I did this person dirty. I did this dirty. I did this. And it was wrong that I did that. I'm telling you, your spirit is going to be so much higher. And then with forgiving other people, again, forgiveness is always about you, not the other person. You got to understand, even when you go to a person that you did all wrong, you at least have to make the attempt to make it right. At least make the attempt. Or, you know what I mean? And you got to understand, just because somebody could forgive you, but that don't mean that they ever have to talk to you again. They can forgive you, or you can ask for their forgiveness. Some people will be irate and they'll be furious, and they'll never, they'll tell you how much they hate you and stuff like that. And this is why I said in the very beginning, sometimes it's important to let people come at you the way that they come at you. I'm not saying you should do that all the time, but sometimes it is important, because it's almost like you getting an ass whooping. I'm gonna just say ass whooping. When your mama was younger, and I'm not when your mama was younger. When you were younger and you was doing something bad, what happened? You got pain. You got pain attached to it. You got a whooping. You got this. And why did you get that whooping? You got that whooping because it convicted you in a lot of ways and saying like, this is almost like a punishment, like some type of karma. And that ass whooping could be something different when, it could be, you can get more than just a butt whooping. You could be punished. You could be this. You know what I mean? You'll have other things besides that. But what I'm talking about with this ass whooping is that the person that you did dirty, that person right there, they could just lay it in on you about how all da 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 da. You can, I would say sometimes, not all the times, damn sure you like this is not an invitation for people just to come out and get over on you and whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's like that. It's like a butt whooping. That's sometimes what you need to do better. Sometimes you need that. And sometimes it is important to hear what you did, or how you made another person feel, because that, in that, yeah, you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel extremely, but it also convicts you a lot of times. A lot of times, what people will do, we don't want to deal with that, so we're gonna run away and stuff like that. We'll you know what I mean? Like, but when we do that and we never reconcile and stuff like that, or we have a lot of pride and ego. Oh no, I never letting somebody tell me that. Oh, this dude. Oh, you that. Oh, this girl. She's da 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 da. Sometimes it's important to just take that ass whooping, take it, call that person, and they're gonna call you everything in the book. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is you don't need to, damn sure don't do this for everybody. I'm just trying to say, like, some people that what you did and it was so foul, some people or whatever, sometimes it's important for to help your spirit is to understand what you did to somebody. How did you affect this person? People don't understand that their actions affect people. People don't have empathy. And a lot of times, when you're getting that verbal ass whooping from that person, you will, in some way, shape, or form, a lot of times you'll start to understand empathy more. Like, oh, this is, you know what I mean? Especially if it happens to you. You might not have known what you did to somebody. You had no empathy for it. But you turn around and somebody did it to you. You're like, oh my God, is this how that person felt the entire time? Yes, that's how that person felt the whole time when you did whatever you did to them. Again, it's not to convict you, but it just is what it is. So you know what I mean? Like, so that's why. So again, it's just so important that you gotta understand that you gotta forgive people. People may not ever forgive you for whatever you did, and you gotta be at peace with that. You gotta at least make the attempt to apologize sincerely, not no fake apology. God can see your heart. He can see your heart. You can fool everybody else. You can do very insincere and ingenuine actions to everybody else, but a lot of times you're like, okay, God, I went to apologize sincere. And God's like, no, you did not. You didn't learn the lesson. You did not. This is a lesson in humility. This was a lesson in empathy. This was a lesson. This was that lesson. Humility, empathy, and a whole bunch of, these are spiritual gifts from God. Wisdom is a spiritual gift from God. Love is a spiritual gift from God. All these things is spiritual gifts from God. The reason we don't have them a lot of times is because we only live in our flesh. We only live in our flesh, and we're too prideful and ego to go back and right our wrongs. Too prideful. And in a lot of ways, we can trick people. We always think that we can trick God. Yeah, I'm going to go tell God this and, yeah, I'll be good. No, you don't. He can see your heart. That's why your situations never change, because you didn't mean it genuinely. You apologized, but it wasn't genuine. You did it because you thought, oh, yeah, I'll get blessings after this. Or, oh, yeah, I do this. Oh, yeah. No, that's why that love still is not in your heart. That's why that, you feel no empathy for other people. That's why these are spiritual gifts of God. That's why you don't have that wisdom. People don't have wisdom and they turn away from God. They got reprobated minds, meaning they think of whatever they have. It's almost, these people are crazy. But that again, that spiritual gifts, it's a spiritual gift from God. These things are spiritual gifts, but if you never go back and right your wrongs and stuff like that, forgive yourself and ask for forgiveness, even if people don't forgive you, you just got to eat that. Sometimes that's your karma. But at the end of the day, you might as well. You would rather take a nail out of your foot. It's better just to endure the pain now for a short time, so that your spirit will be good in the long run. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you looking at something like, let's just say you want to go to school. You know what I mean? And you put it off. You keep on putting it off. Or you're trying to do something. You want to do something. You keep on putting it off, right? And so as time goes, you keep on saying, I'm gonna do it later. As time grows, one of the worst feelings is that feeling that you never did it. That it's not even, I don't even know if it's regret or whatever, but you have been saying that you're going to do a song and you never actually did it. It makes you feel even worse. Sometimes it's more energetically like it's terrible energetically sometimes, just simply for the simple fact that um oh my bad. Sometimes it's terrible just for the simple like it's just you can just go through the motions to build your spirit, and it's gonna hurt, man. But again, that's the you got to reject your flesh. Your flesh is of this earth. Your sense of identity with the ego is of this earth. So you got to reject it, and then again, but God will accept you. He'll give you those spiritual gifts, those spiritual blessings. Those are spiritual blessings that people have. You know, you don't probably have it is because your spirit is still low. You also got to watch it. And everybody, like, I'm dang on sure, you know what I mean? Like, with this next point, I'm definitely very, very guilty of this. Is like everybody, you know, again, like, but the type of stuff that you eat, the type of stuff that you, again, with that Beyonce song, I'm a grown woman, I can do whatever I want. There's a lot of programming in that. Why, do you understand, like, kind of like what this song was? It was almost like they were putting everybody in a trance, especially more likely women listen to Beyonce more than anything else. I'm a grown woman. I can do whatever I want. And you look at that video, go look at that video. It's almost like they're hypnotizing you. They're hypnotizing you. The music and sounds. Remember, the devil is the devil is the god of all that music. I mean, not the god of all music. Definitely not that. But the devil, a lot of times, he was a musician, wasn't he? But he knows how to make things look good, real good. You know, and so just watching what you're doing, because a lot of that stuff you don't realize is like they're portal. Like, again, like these you gotta understand this is spiritual. We only look at it from the fleshly portion, so it's like so hard. If you haven't done any type of spiritual, you be like, this just is, I don't know what you're talking about. A lot of this stuff is spiritual. You got to understand. That's why if you out there and you dating people and you saying, dang, all the last 5 people act the same. Why is that? It's because even though they have different faces, they're all over the earth. These 5 different people were in 5 different places. It's like, why are all of them acting the same? Why is this the case? Why? It's because your spirit is drawing that person. That spirit, your spirit is drawing that spirit. So the reason why you keep on going to the same things, you didn't heal that trauma inside of you. So the spirit is recognizing. That's why you're attracted to certain people. You don't know why, and other people can be attracted to you. It's because of the spiritual trauma that y'all, or the demonic spirits or whatever, that those two are attracting each other. That's the reason why you keep finding the same person, because you never dealt with whatever you went through in the past. Do you understand, again, like why I'm saying, like, where the pain is important to address? You keep going through the same thing over and over and over and over again in life because you didn't learn the lesson. You never learned the lesson about that relationship, or this or that or that. That's why you keep on going through the same thing. Like, why am I continuously finding? Because you don't understand that there's a lesson in what you're doing. God is trying to teach you something, but you know, and it's not to condemn you. It's not to like put you down. And everybody does this, but it's a way. I'm just trying to say that it's to elevate your spirit, or to keep moving forward in life and stuff like that, and to get closer to whatever you need to do and being close with God, whatever. You got to understand the lesson that He's in his lessons to everybody else. It's counterintuitive. Why would God give me pain in order to teach me lesson? Why wouldn't He just give me da? And again, He doesn't give you that stuff because the devil makes you believe that that's how God does not work in that manner. It's the pain that brings you close to Him, because you got to reject your flesh, and you're going to have to crucify that flesh. And you know what I mean? And because of that reason, you ain't going to feel good. Your body is not going to feel good. You're not going to feel comfortable, but your spirit is higher. And with time, your body will catch up to your spirit. You know what I mean? But that's the reason why, you know. Oh, my bad. I was gonna say one last move before I got off here, and I lost my doggone train of thought. But yeah, no. But overall, you gotta understand that there's a lot of stuff. All these portals. I thought I was talking about the portals, but you gotta understand, like, all the stuff that you consume and stuff like that, even food. I know, because I'm terrible. I can really not talk about this. You know what I mean? I love me some Cheetos, some hot flaming, some honey buns, and all. You know, I love that type of stuff. You know. And I know it's not good for me, but a lot of times, again, these portals are ways that other demonic spirits can get in. Again, you can think about this equivalent to you, the biggest dude on the block. It's almost like, you know, a lot of the stuff that we indulge in a lot of times, the music, the this, the that, the that, It's like somebody stabbing you on other sides too. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're distracted. You listen to the song, you're distracted, and out of nowhere somebody just stabs you like on the side. They're stabbing you. They're stabbing you. They're stabbing you. Every time you look at that music, somebody's stabbing you on the side. Every time you do this, they're stabbing you. They're stabbing you. They're stabbing you, and they're stabbing your spirit. And you don't understand the reason. The way that they're able to do that is through the music and stuff. It's done on purpose for a reason. Music is powerful, and they do that stuff on purpose for a reason. They do it for a purpose. Again, this is why it's like these people are hypnotizing everybody. It's like almost spell work. Everybody's doing the exact same thing, and they're not crazy. That's why we believe that everybody should be the exact same, and that because everybody's the exact same, everybody got the exact same results. And the world is cold like how it is. It's because everybody's been doing the exact same thing because everybody's following the same trend. Everybody do it. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's fun, but also at the same time, you really got to watch that. Why is everybody doing the same thing? Doesn't the broad road lead to damnation? Absolutely. This is why they want everybody to act the same. Also, when you act the same as everybody else, it's very easy to control and manipulate you. If you don't know that God exists and stuff like that, you won't have wisdom. You won't have that discernment. You won't have all those gifts. You won't have empathy. You won't have love. So you're going to get manipulated a lot if you're not careful. If you're not spiritual, not if careful. So you're gonna get manipulated, and you'll be like very fearful of whatever is going on in the world, and you shouldn't be afraid at all. That's the devil trying to get at you. Not trying to. He's effectively doing that, and he can get at you through music, through cars, clothes. He can do it through a lot of stuff that like it brings down your spirit. It brings down your spirit, and that's how more spirits can. Like again, like an example of somebody coming to stab you on the side. It's almost like now that you're constantly being stabbed on the side by listening to this or this or this, you opening up a portal for these demons to like attack you. In the same vein, other demons will come. So you'll start to have a multitude of problems. You're like, what is going on? It's because you open up your portal one time to this music, and the music is bringing your spirit down to such a level where it's bringing your spirit down to such a level where it's I can't even think right now. These other smaller little demonic spirits can come and take a jab at you. So, but with all that being said, man, at the end of the day, you just got to understand that sometimes, man, it is important to take that ass whipping, that verbal ass whipping. You got to understand the importance of empathy, the importance of what have you done in reconciliation. You got to understand that this world is completely opposite that of God, and so all the things that you see that you're special and you're all these different type of things. And again, I'm not trying to say that to pander bear people. I'm saying it because it's legitimately the truth. It's just the fact that people don't see it. About you are special. You are very, very special. And you should always do that. So when you out here walking around, man, you got to understand that but you're special. Don't get me wrong though. When I say you are special, it does not mean how the world says it. Because when people say that you're special, it's almost like people feel like they're better than other people. When I say you are special, it's in the sense that you got to understand, what gifts, talents, and all these other different type of things you have at your fingertips and that God gave you. And he's very real. Spirituality, but all the stuff, the devil and God, they're very, very real. And if you saying, no, it's not real, you're going to stay in a space where you're fearful of stuff, or I know, because I was definitely in that space where you're not confident. You feel low. You don't know what love looks like. You trying to look for love, and you're wondering why people can't give you love. It's because people don't have it. They don't have it. The devil is not love, and a lot of people probably don't even understand. It's like we are following the devil whether or not we know it. But God loves you. He loves you a lot. He made you different. That's why the devil wants you to be like everybody else. That's why we will condemn and outcast people that are different. It's really the spirits inside of us casting that spirit out. Because again, difference is equivalent to that person that's fearful, or the squirrel that's fearful, and they see that object coming to them and they don't know what it is. That's how humans behave. We'll run away from it. We'll reject it because we don't understand it. We'll reject it. And again, with that, we don't have that wisdom. We don't have that, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have those different type of things. It's because you believe God is not real. You're rejecting it. And so your spirit will reject anybody that's coming in your life. People have blessings in their lives. and they don't understand that that was a blessing in their life. It could be they could have had like a certain type of job. It could be a whole bunch of different type of things where God sent it to you, a blessing to you, but because it did not come packaged in the way that the world would have packaged it, we believe that it's nothing. It's like what I did, and it's not until we learn later that whatever it was actually what we needed the entire time. But we saw it, and we thought that it didn't look like how we wanted it to, or the world would say it is. Again, this is what the devil does. This is that manipulation. This is why you're thinking that everybody, the devil, you expected the blessing to look like everything else or everyone else. Again, God works opposite of that of the devil. He works completely opposite. This is why, we fall into that place where it's like, you can mess things up. You don't understand the value or the importance of it. And everybody's gone through it, so it's not a bad thing. But it's a bad thing in the sense that, it'll teach you a hard life lesson. Your flesh is going to feel bad for a very long time, because it's like, you did this, and this. Everybody's taking stuff for granted. Everybody's taking, whatever. And so, and everybody's been in a space where you didn't appreciate it when it was there. So when it got up and left, it's like your flesh is hurting now, but your spirit, in the same vein, with time, is going to like actually elevate, because now you understand what it's like to have something and let it go. I mean, it go like something really good. You'll understand, and because you understand that, you're gonna move different in the future. You're gonna make sure that you are much more appreciative and valued, of what you have and stuff like that, in comparison to when before you were acting in more so egotistical or prideful manner, thinking that you didn't need nothing. So, it's reconciliation, man. It's all this stuff. It's just like, it's just important that you do your best to do right by people. You have gifts. You are talented. You are special, and I truly do mean that. I don't mean that in no pandering bear way. I honestly, truly say that because I know it's the truth. Being different is a blessing. Don't let these people try to tear you down. Don't let them do none of that. These people, a lot of times, they're unhappy in their lives, and it's spirits inside of them that they have not controlled, that they haven't dealt with them demons. And sometimes it's very hard, but it's like you got to forgive people and let them go. You know what I mean? And you can't harbor that resentment towards them. Just like how with Jesus was up on the cross and stuff like that, and people were crucifying him. Remember, he said something to the point of, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I always was like, why is Jesus saying that? Why would he say that? Like, they obviously know what they're doing. Why would Jesus say, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do? What Jesus was saying, what he meant was the people, they were, they just lived in darkness. They were living in ignorance. They didn't know, like their spirits were so low. So when they saw something that's completely contradictory towards their spirit, the devil gets in everybody's ears and the air and condemns the good and kills it. That's why it was at one time, Jesus was put on trial between, Barabbas and Jesus. The emperor. They brought Jesus before, a mass of people. And I forgot who the ruler was, but basically the ruler did not want to kill Jesus or crucify. So he came up with the plan of the people. He brought all the people who that wanted to crucify Jesus. He said to the people, he said, "Look, here goes Jesus, son of Nazareth. He never done anything wrong. He did this, and this. So this person has never hurt anybody. Okay, that's Jesus. Y'all can either release him or Barabbas. Barabbas is a murderous thief, rape." He's every negative thing in the world. That is what Barabbas is. And then he brought Barabbas and Jesus before the emperor, and he said, "Hey, which one do y'all want?" And the crowd unanimously said Jesus over Barabbas. They said, Jesus, we want to crucify Jesus. And he did. The guy at the top, he eventually did. Like, he's like, I'm not. No. This man's blood is not on my hands. This man's blood is not on my hand. And so, but they did kill him. They killed him and everything like that. But the world is going to reject, again, like when I said earlier, the world's going to reject you when you accept God. So that's why these people were going so hard. That's why they let Barabbas go. But they killed Jesus, because they understand that Barabbas was one of them. They knew that Barabbas is what it's so, even though, Jesus he's not one of them. And so that's why they killed him. And the devil was in their ear the entire time. It was the devil. That's why. Because it's the devil's domain. So forgive them, and forgive yourself too. So, and always just understand, man, you love, God really loves you, man. People love You gotta understand that God really, really, truly do loves you. If nobody, people on this earth, they don't know how to show love a lot of times, and that's hard to come to grips with. But you can't blame people. You know, you got to understand that people are coming. That don't mean that you got to be a fool and stay around, but you know, you can release people in love. But you got to understand that God definitely does love you. Love you is I'm telling you. Your boy Timothy D is a witness of the Almighty Father's presence. So you know, he will just definitely give you all. He would give you spiritual gifts in time, but you know, you gotta first isolate yourself and you gotta reject the world. But also understand that when you reject the world's gonna reject you, and sometimes it's gonna feel like that you by yourself. So it's like, you know, forget that. I'm gonna go back to the world. But you know, you're gonna fall right back into that place where, yeah, you got everything of the world, but your spirit, your inside, your interior is hollow. So, you know, well, that being said, I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.